Welcome back to my channel. Today, we will learn about one of the most gripping story arcs currently unfolding in the ABC General Hospital series. The chaos all begins with a catastrophic explosion at Sonny's home, resulting in severe injuries for Michael and the destruction of nearly everything Sonny once held dear within those walls. This tragic event sets into motion a dramatic chain reaction of suspicion, vengeance, and moral conflict that has left viewers anxiously awaiting each new episode. The initial trauma resonates throughout Port Charles, as Sonny's penthouse, once a symbol of power and security, is now reduced to little more than ash and rubble. Within moments of the blast, Michael is discovered among the wreckage, barely clinging to life with devastating burns across his body. Swiftly rushed to the hospital, Michael's condition proves critical but not hopeless. He requires immediate and long-term treatment for his burns, a painstaking process filled with surgery, skin grafts, and extended rehabilitation. Doctors prepare Sonny for a slow and difficult path to recovery, reminding him that there will be no quick fixes. But despite the emotional weight of seeing Michael in such pain, Sonny must contend with an even more pressing question: who is responsible for this attack, and how can he retaliate? Michael's initial surgeries and medical interventions temporarily silence him, as he drifts in and out of consciousness. When he finally stabilizes, Michael summons Sonny and Jason to his hospital room, where his words pierce the tense air. With a shaky voice, he reveals having glimpsed the figure behind the explosion, Sidwell. Even though Michael's memory is marred by the trauma, he remains certain of what he saw, insisting that Sidwell was there in the penthouse moments before the deadly blast. This admission confirms Sonny's darkest suspicions. Sidwell has long been a thorn in Sonny's side, but never before had he made such a brazen and catastrophic move. Hearing Michael's account only steels Sonny's resolve to exact revenge. Throughout the following days, Sonny paces the hospital corridors, torn between two powerful emotions: his profound love for Michael, whose scars now remind Sonny of just how close he came to losing his child, and his equally fervent desire to punish the man responsible for the nightmare now haunting his every step. Jason, ever the loyal right-hand man, shares Sonny's anger. Together, they decide this offense cannot go unpunished. They refuse to hand Sidwell over to the police, deeming legal consequences too gentle for someone who nearly claimed Michael's life. Death, in Sonny's eyes, is the only penalty severe enough to fit Sidwell's crime. Jason offers no argument, as he understands the code Sonny lives by: anyone who targets or endangers Sonny's family signs their own death warrant. The next challenge is locating Sidwell. Rumor has it that he has taken refuge at Windermere Castle, an eerie fortress on Spoon Island. Known for its winding corridors, hidden tunnels, and association with other unscrupulous figures, Windermere is no stranger to harboring fugitives. Jason takes it upon himself to scout the estate. Yet, by the time he arrives, it appears Sidwell has already fled. The intelligence gathered suggests Sidwell realized his assassination attempt on Sonny had failed and that retribution would be swift. Hoping to stay one step ahead, he vanished, likely aided by cohorts who helped him slip away before Sonny's men could descend upon him. Undeterred, Sonny contacts his extensive network of underworld associates, reaching into the darker corners of various territories. Over decades of building an empire, Sonny has amassed allies in multiple cities and countries. He promises each of them a generous reward for any credible information on Sidwell's whereabouts. If Sidwell remains on the run, Sonny vows he will widen the net until he is dragged out of whatever hiding place he's found. Jason supports every decision, standing ready to handle the details of covert travel, cross-border alliances, and discreet operations if they must go overseas to corner Sidwell. Although it may take time, both Sonny and Jason accept that this mission will end only one way: with Sidwell's death. Meanwhile, Dante enters the picture with a different perspective. As both Sonny's son and a dedicated police detective, Dante finds himself in the unenviable position of understanding his father's fury but simultaneously upholding the rule of law. Deeply disturbed by the devastation inflicted on Michael and the memory of Sonny's house turned to cinders, Dante nonetheless remains committed to preventing further bloodshed. He pleads with Sonny to allow the legal system to administer justice. If Sidwell is captured and tried, Dante argues, Michael can take pride in seeing that even those who commit heinous acts do not escape due process. Furthermore, Dante warns that if Sonny kills Sidwell in cold blood, it won't just be morally questionable, it will be outright homicide, leaving Sonny vulnerable to prosecution. He emphasizes that as a cop, he cannot overlook vigilante acts, no matter who commits them. This father-son conflict adds another layer to the turmoil now engulfing the Corinthos family. For Sonny, the concept of letting Sidwell face a jury seems laughably inadequate, especially given how close Michael came to dying. Sonny believes Sidwell, a man who tried to murder him in his own home, forfeited any right to mercy or fairness. He repeatedly tells Dante that placing Sidwell in a jail cell wouldn't even begin to avenge Michael's suffering. Such a stance reveals the moral schism between Sonny's brand of justice and Dante's belief in the legal system. As the tension escalates, it becomes evident that Dante might be Sonny's last obstacle. If anyone can physically stop Sonny from pulling the trigger, it is Dante. Though that would force Dante to choose between honoring his badge and defending his own father. In the midst of these internal struggles, Michael remains confined to the hospital, heavily medicated and monitored around the clock. His injuries threaten infections, nerve damage, and extensive scarring. The doctors hint that the healing process might be just as arduous psychologically. Michael grapples with survivor's guilt, knowing the bomb was meant for Sonny, and he happened to be the one in the wrong place at the wrong time. Despite his pain, Michael's anger at Sidwell burns nearly as fierce as Sonny's. If he could move freely without risking his fragile recovery, he might well join his father in hunting Sidwell. Yet his crippled state forces him to remain on the sidelines, praying Sonny will succeed. However, Dante's involvement weighs on Michael's mind. While he yearns for Sidwell to be punished, he worries about the possibility that another Corinthos family conflict could tear them apart. The looming confrontation between Sonny and Dante pushes the storyline to new emotional heights. Sonny is fueled by guilt, remembering how Morgan once died because of a conflict in his dangerous world. Now, Michael has nearly succumbed to a similar fate. The image of Michael's bandaged body haunts Sonny daily, intensifying his need to finish Sidwell. But for Dante, allowing his father to descend into outright murder is unthinkable. He attempts to hold on to the hope that Sonny might see sense before it's too late, or that Jason could intervene to keep Sonny from crossing that final line. Yet Dante recognizes Jason's loyalty may be unshakable. If Sonny demands Sidwell's execution, Jason will not likely stand in the way. Outside observers, including other key players in Port Charles, watch this deadly dance with anxious curiosity. Some sympathize with Sonny's pain, acknowledging that the criminal justice system does not always deliver the sort of swift vengeance that Sonny demands. Others align with Dante's convictions, believing that if Sonny kills Sidwell, he will be no different than those who wreak havoc throughout their community. Everyone seems to agree on one thing: the Corinthos family is heading for a crisis that could leave it even more deeply fractured and cause ripple effects across Port Charles. At the same time, the search for Sidwell stretches far beyond city limits. Secret deals, cryptic phone calls, and coded messages pass among Sonny's allies, each turning over leads that may reveal Sidwell's next hiding spot. Some sightings prove false, while others drag Jason to remote corners of neighboring states, but no one wants to be the one who loses track of Sidwell, not with so much at stake. With every failed attempt, Sonny's impatience grows. He pressures his contacts further, reminding them of the dire consequences that await if Sidwell remains free. In truth, the longer Sidwell evades them, the more dangerous he becomes. He could rally new accomplices or plan another attack. Sonny refuses to let that happen. He is relentless in his pursuit, drawing from decades of underworld experience to close the net. As the search intensifies, Dante also steps up his efforts to monitor his father's activities, hoping for a chance to intervene. He enlists a few of his fellow officers to discreetly watch Sonny's known associates, with instructions to report any suspicious movements that hint at travel or planned violence. It is a difficult position for Dante, who risks exposing the dark underside of his father's operations if his investigation becomes too visible. Yet he sees no other way to prevent a murder from taking place. Now, all eyes rest on the outcome of this desperate chase. Will Sonny manage to corner Sidwell first, delivering the lethal blow he believes is justified, or will Dante beat him to the punch, bringing Sidwell in alive for trial? The tension builds with every passing moment that Sidwell remains at large, and Michael's painful recovery underscores the urgency. Even from his hospital bed, Michael senses the gravity of the situation spiraling beyond his control. His father and brother stand on opposite sides of the law, both resolute in their convictions. Their collision is inevitable, and the only certainty is that someone's life will be irrevocably changed by the final confrontation. In the end, Sonny's unwavering thirst for vengeance challenges Dante's dedication to justice, and neither man is likely to yield. Their conflict strikes at the heart of the Corinthos family's identity, tested time and again by violence and loss. Whether the climax will result in Sidwell's death, Dante's disillusionment, or a host of unexpected twists, fans remain riveted by the possibility that the family's fractured bonds could shatter entirely, or perhaps, though less likely, begin a pathway to mutual understanding. Next, we delve into the complex and shocking evolution of Willow Corinthos, a once beloved character who has found herself entangled in betrayal, manipulation, and questionable alliances. A scandal that shattered trust and tarnished reputation. The affair between Willow Tate and Drew Quatermain sent shockwaves through Port Charles, particularly when their intimate encounter took place in Scout Quatermain's playroom. This decision was not just a lapse in judgment but a brazen disregard for boundaries, considering the risk of a child or family member discovering them. The subsequent fallout from this affair, revealed publicly by Tracy Quatermain at the Christmas gathering, left Michael Corinthos reeling in betrayal and humiliation. Instead of addressing her actions with remorse, Willow seemed indifferent, displaying a detachment that alarmed even her closest allies. Her reaction, or lack thereof, to Michael's devastation underscored a fundamental shift in her character. This wasn't the selfless Willow who once prioritized her family's happiness. Instead, she appeared cold and calculating, concerned more about her secret being exposed than the emotional damage she inflicted on her husband. This pivotal moment signaled the beginning of a new, unrecognizable chapter in Willow's life. Nina Reeves' influence, a maternal bond or manipulative control? Willow's deepening bond with her mother, Nina Reeves, has drawn comparisons to her late sister, Nellie Benson. Nina's decision to hire Martin Gray without consulting Willow showcased her dominating presence in her daughter's life. Despite Willow's initial resistance, she allowed herself to be swept into Nina's plans, raising questions about her autonomy and susceptibility to manipulation. This dynamic bears striking similarities to Willow's past experiences in the Dawn of Day cult, where she was subjected to psychological control. Could her willingness to follow Nina's lead stem from unresolved trauma? Nina's assertive tactics, combined with Willow's vulnerability, have created a troubling partnership that threatens to further destabilize her relationships with Michael and Carly Spencer. An attack on Carly Spencer, Willow's war begins. Willow's decision to move in with Nina and take her children to her mother's home without Michael's consent marked a turning point in her relationship with Carly. This act wasn't just a betrayal of Michael, it was a direct affront to Carly, igniting a conflict that promises to escalate. Carly, fiercely protective of her family, has been cast as Willow's new adversary, and Nina's influence looms large over this feud. This act of defiance mirrors the actions of Nellie Benson, who also waged war against Carly. The parallels between Willow and her sister have become increasingly apparent, raising concerns about whether Willow is adopting Nina's and Nellie's manipulative tendencies. This familial clash could redefine the dynamics in Port Charles, leaving no relationship untouched. The Washington, D.C. debacle, betrayal in broad daylight. Willow's choice to accompany Drew to Washington, D.C., taking Wiley with her, was not just a logistical error but a profound betrayal. This move, made without Michael's knowledge or consent, further highlighted her disregard for his role as a father. It was a public flaunting of her relationship with Drew, a move that seemed designed to provoke and hurt Michael. The repercussions were immediate and severe. Michael's decision to pursue full custody of their children was a direct response to Willow's actions, yet she seemed genuinely shocked by his move. This reaction revealed a startling lack of self-awareness, as though she believed her actions carried no consequences. The ripple effects of this decision continue to impact not just Willow and Michael but everyone connected to them. From Nellie to Willow, a disturbing parallel. While Willow may not share Nellie Benson's history of overt villainy, the similarities between their recent actions are impossible to ignore. Nellie's manipulative schemes were driven by a desire to hurt those around her, while Willow's betrayals seem rooted in self-interest and a growing disconnect from her moral compass. Both women have demonstrated a willingness to prioritize their desires over the well-being of their children and loved ones, drawing unsettling comparisons that tarnish Willow's once sterling reputation. The question now is whether Willow can recognize the path she's on and make amends before it's too late. Her current trajectory threatens to alienate her from everyone who once stood by her side, leaving her isolated and vulnerable. A desperate need for redemption and healing. The unraveling of Willow's character has left fans divided. Some sympathize with the pressures she faces, while others view her actions as inexcusable. Regardless of public opinion, one thing is clear: Willow needs help. A skilled therapist could provide her with the tools to address the emotional scars left by her time in the Dawn of Day cult and her tumultuous family dynamics. Redemption is not out of reach for Willow, but it will require her to confront her flaws with honesty and humility. This journey won't be easy, but it could ultimately lead to her reclaiming the love and trust of those she has hurt. Whether she has the strength and willingness to take this step remains to be seen. The future of Willow Tate Corinthos. As the drama unfolds, the future of Willow Tate Corinthos hangs in the balance. Will she continue down a path of self-destruction, or will she find a way to reconcile with Michael and repair the damage she has done? The stakes are high, and the outcomes are uncertain, but one thing is certain: Port Charles will never be the same.